I'm Nicole, and I know a terrible secret. It started when my husband's friend called him one day and said that 2 rooms opened up for the weekend and we could have them if we wanted. This friend was the manager at one of the fanciest hotels and spas in the country. So when he invited us, obviously we had to say yes. Simply getting a reservation there would have been impossible. The wait list was at least a year long. So my husband and I packed up our bags, and as we were about to leave, he got a phone call. It was his mother, Shelby.
Hi, Mom.
I heard you guys got a spare room at that fancy hotel. Do you mind if me and your father tagged along too? I heard this place is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
I wasn't too thrilled that my husband invited his parents along on our special trip. But we had 2 rooms anyway, and they were free, so I couldn't complain much. We reached the spa, and I was blown away by how beautiful it was. I'd never been to anywhere so fancy and clean. We quickly made our way to our rooms before we decided to check out some of the activities offered around the hotel. There was so much to do, and we couldn't decide as a group, so we all split up to check out everything we each wanted. My husband and his dad went to find the tennis courts. His mom wanted to go to the spa, but I was more interested in the pool. I got my swimsuit on and lounged around in the sun. The pool was massive, and the weather was perfect for a swim. By the time I was done, I lay on a chair to dry off. But out of the corner of my eye, I saw a familiar face. It was Shelby, my mother-in-law, and she was sitting at a nearby cafe with a handsome young lifeguard. I didn't like what I was seeing. She kept making weird, flirty faces at him while they talked. I couldn't help but wonder who this guy was, and where my husband's father was. Shelby sure wasn't at the spa anymore. Now she was having lunch with this handsome man. I was curious, so I tried to get as close as I could without Shelby spotting me. I managed to get really close and could hear a little bit of what they were saying.
You're so funny. I'm so happy I was able to come here and see you again. You know, I've got a hotel room here if you want to go somewhere more private.
I couldn't believe it. Shelby really was trying to flirt with the lifeguard. I had to tell my father-in-law, but when I turned to leave, I bumped straight into a waiter and knocked him over. It caused such a commotion that the whole restaurant stopped to look at us, including Shelby and her lifeguard friend. She quickly helped me up, then took me to the side, away from everyone.
What did you see? Did you hear us talking?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Liar! You heard everything, didn't you?
Fine, I heard it all. I know you're cheating on your husband with that lifeguard. When I tell him, he'll have a lot of words for you.
Silly girl. My husband trusts me more than he trusts you. If you go to him about this, I'll just deny it. And if you ruin my marriage, I'll ruin yours too. I'll tell my son all kinds of things you've done, even if they're all lies. So you keep your mouth shut, understand?
I was shocked she was acting this way. I didn't know what to say, so I just shook my head and agreed. I didn't want there to be any problems between my husband and me. But I also couldn't let Shelby get away with something like this when I knew about it. But even if I gave her husband a tip anonymously, Shelby would still know it was me. So I did as she told me and kept my mouth shut. The rest of the day passed slowly for me. I wanted to tell my husband and his father so badly, especially when we all ate dinner together in the expensive restaurant before. But Shelby was shooting me dirty looks whenever I tried to talk. It was hopeless, so I resigned myself to keeping it a secret. But as we left dinner, I heard Shelby talking to her husband.
Honey, don't you think a late-night walk would be great? You could see the whole spa lit up by lanterns in the night sky, too.
I silently begged him to stay in their room, but sadly he agreed. A nighttime walk sounded good, especially when Shelby mentioned a bar that stayed open all night right here in the hotel. She even gave him some drinking money as a treat. But with her husband gone, that left their room free for Shelby to use whenever. When her husband was gone, Shelby gave me an evil smile, then walked off. I felt awful for not telling her husband, but Shelby was right. He wouldn't believe me anyway. It wasn't until I'd almost gotten back to my room when I heard Shelby giggling. Down the hallway, she unlocked the door to her room and motioned for someone to follow her. The lifeguard came around the corner and followed her in, shutting the door behind him. I couldn't take it anymore, so I quickly leapt into action. I went to the front desk and said to them, "Hi there, could I possibly see your guest records? I'm looking for my mother, and I think she might have come by here recently." The receptionist was very helpful, and I thanked her for her time, then hurried to find Shelby's husband. I found him not too far away from the hotel, about to walk around the grounds, but I stopped him. "You need to go back to your room. Your wife is cheating on you."
Huh, what's this about? She wouldn't do that to me. She loves me.
But that's when I showed him what I found from the receptionist. I got her to look up Shelby in their system, and it turns out she actually already had a membership with them. She'd been coming here at least twice a month, probably to flirt with the lifeguard more. When I showed the records to my father-in-law, he was steaming mad.
I had a suspicion for some time she was cheating on me, but I didn't want to believe it. I'm heading back right away. Thank you for telling me.
With that, he stormed back towards the hotel. I was really nervous about what would happen next. I didn't want to lose my husband. I followed behind my father-in-law until I got to my room. Even down the hall, I could hear them yelling when he opened the door. It was a big fight, and my husband and I were grateful when the yelling stopped. Sure enough, just like she promised, Shelby had claimed I was making it all up, but her husband didn't believe her one bit. He was also able to convince his son that I wasn't lying either, thanks to the evidence I gave them. Shelby was livid, but her husband didn't want to hear it. Instead, he kicked her out of their hotel room and told her to pack her bags from his house as well. My husband and I are still together, and we're helping his father get back into the dating game as well, looking for someone who wasn't going to break his heart like my ex-mother-in-law did. My ex-mother-in-law had to go through a divorce and pay a consultation fee. Her fears were so vicious, which summed up her payment quite a bit. Furthermore, as last stated, her boyfriend also had a family of his own, and my father-in-law was kind enough to share his knowledge with them. So my ex-mother-in-law had to pay an additional consultation fee to her boyfriend's wife as well. What I learned from this incident is, one is that having an affair will land you in hell. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.